Drug abuse is a pervasive issue that has significant and far-reaching consequences for individuals, families, communities, and society as a whole. It refers to the excessive and inappropriate use of substances such as illicit drugs, prescription medications, and even legal substances like alcohol and tobacco, resulting in harmful physical, psychological, and social effects. The impact of drug abuse on individuals is profound. It can lead to a range of health problems, including addiction, organ damage, mental disorders, and increased risk of overdose and death. Substance abuse often disrupts personal relationships, strains family dynamics, and jeopardizes professional and academic achievements. Moreover, it can contribute to financial instability, legal troubles, and involvement in criminal activities. Communities bear the burden of drug abuse through increased crime rates, violence, and the strain on public health and social welfare systems. Drug-related crimes such as theft, assault, and drug trafficking create an environment of fear and insecurity, undermining community cohesion. Additionally, substance abuse places a heavy burden on healthcare resources, including emergency services, addiction treatment facilities, and mental health programs. The societal impact of drug abuse is vast, affecting economies, public safety, and overall well-being. The economic costs of substance abuse are substantial, encompassing healthcare expenses, lost productivity, and expenditures related to law enforcement and the criminal justice system. Moreover, drug abuse perpetuates social inequalities, disproportionately affecting marginalized communities and exacerbating existing social issues. Preventing and addressing drug abuse requires a comprehensive approach, including education, prevention programs, access to treatment and support services, and a focus on evidence-based policies. By understanding the significance and impact of drug abuse, we can work towards creating a healthier, safer, and more resilient society for everyone. Some statistics on drug abuse. Here are some important statistics on drug abuse. 1. Global drug use. According to the World Drug Report 2021 by the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, UNODC, an estimated 275 million people, or roughly 5.5% of the global population aged 15 to 64, used drugs at least once in 2020. 2. Opioid epidemic. In the United States, the opioid epidemic has been a significant public health crisis. According to the National Institute on Drug Abuse, NIDA, in 2019, approximately 10.1 million Americans misused prescription opioids, and about 2 million Americans had an opioid use disorder. 3. Marijuana use. Marijuana is one of the most commonly used drugs globally. The UNODC reported that in 2019, an estimated 200 million people, or 3.9% of the global population, used cannabis in the past year. 4. Alcohol abuse. Alcohol is another substance that poses significant challenges. The World Health Organization, WHO, estimates that globally, 3.3 million deaths in 2016 were due to harmful use of alcohol, accounting for 5.9% of all deaths. Alcohol abuse also contributes to a wide range of health conditions, including liver disease, mental health disorders, and various types of cancer. 5. Synthetic drugs. The abuse of synthetic drugs, such as methamphetamine and synthetic opioids, has been on the rise. In the United States, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, reported that synthetic opioid overdose deaths increased from approximately 3,000 in 2013 to over 36,000 in 2019, 6. Drug-related deaths. Drug overdoses are a significant cause of mortality worldwide. In the United States, for example, there were over 93,000 drug overdose deaths in 2020, as reported by the CDC. Opioids, particularly synthetic opioids like fentanyl, were responsible for a large portion of these deaths. 7. Social and economic costs. The economic and social costs associated with drug abuse are substantial. In the United States, the economic burden of drug abuse was estimated to be over $740 billion annually in 2019, considering healthcare expenses, criminal justice costs, and productivity losses. Historical roots of drug. The historical roots of drug abuse can be traced back thousands of years, as the use of mind-altering substances has been a part of human culture throughout various civilizations. The reasons for drug use have varied, ranging from religious and spiritual rituals to medicinal purposes and recreational enjoyment. Here is an overview of the evolution of drug abuse over time. 1. Ancient times. In ancient civilizations, substances like alcohol, opium, and hallucinogenic plants were used for their perceived medicinal and religious properties. Examples include the use of opium in ancient Mesopotamia and Egypt and the ceremonial use of hallucinogenic mushrooms in Central and South America. 2. Opium and opiates. The use of opium and its derivatives, such as morphine and heroin, became widespread in the 19th century. Opium dens, particularly prevalent in China, became notorious for fostering addiction and social problems. The Opium Wars between China and Western powers were fueled by the trade and addiction issues associated with opium. 3. Cocaine. Cocaine gained popularity in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, initially as a medicinal substance and later as a recreational drug. Its use peaked during the cocaine era in the 1970s and 1980s, leading to public health concerns and an increase in crime associated with drug trafficking. 4. Cannabis. Cannabis has a long history of use for medicinal, spiritual, and recreational purposes. However, its recreational use gained widespread popularity in the 20th century, particularly during the countercultural movements of the 1960s and 1970s. The criminalization of cannabis in many countries led to the emergence of illicit markets and associated social and legal issues. 5. Synthetic drugs. The 20th century also witnessed the rise of synthetic drugs. Methamphetamine gained popularity during World War II when it was used to keep soldiers awake. The production and abuse of methamphetamine expanded over time, leading to serious health and social consequences. 6. Pharmaceutical drugs. The misuse and abuse of prescription drugs have become a significant concern in recent decades. The availability and accessibility of prescription opioids, sedatives, and stimulants have contributed to a rise in addiction and overdose cases in many countries. 7. Emerging trends. In recent years, new drug trends have emerged, such as the abuse of synthetic opioids like fentanyl and the misuse of designer drugs like synthetic cannabinoids and cathinones, commonly known as bath salts. These substances often circumvent legal regulations and pose additional challenges for law enforcement and public health agencies. Throughout history, drug abuse has evolved in response to various factors, including cultural, social, economic, and technological changes. Understanding the historical roots and evolution of drug abuse is crucial in shaping effective strategies to prevent substance abuse, provide treatment and support, and address the complex underlying issues associated with drug addiction. Drug culture. Drug culture has been influenced by several key moments and movements throughout history. These events and trends have shaped attitudes, behaviors, and societal perceptions surrounding drug use. Here are some notable moments and movements that have had a significant impact on drug culture. 1. Hippie counterculture, 1960s. The hippie movement, particularly during the 1960s, embraced the use of psychedelic substances like LSD and marijuana as a means of spiritual exploration, creativity, and challenging societal norms. The counterculture movement heavily influenced drug culture, promoting the use of hallucinogens and advocating for expanded personal freedoms. 2. War on drugs, 1970s to 1980s. The war on drugs, initiated by the U.S. government in the 1970s, aimed to combat drug abuse and drug trafficking. This movement led to stricter drug laws, increased law enforcement efforts, and a focus on punitive measures. The war on drugs had far-reaching consequences, including the expansion of the prison industrial complex, disproportionate targeting of minority communities, and the perpetuation of stigma surrounding drug use. 3. Rave and electronic music culture, 1980s to 1990s. The rise of rave and electronic music culture in the 1980s and 1990s brought about a surge in the use of ecstasy, MDMA, and other party drugs. Raves and music festivals became synonymous with drug use, and substances were often associated with enhancing the musical and sensory experience. 4. Medical marijuana movement. The movement advocating for the medicinal use of marijuana gained momentum in the late 20th century. The recognition of marijuana's potential therapeutic benefits led to the legalization of medical marijuana in several countries and U.S. states. This movement played a significant role in shifting public attitudes toward marijuana and challenging its stigma. 5. Psychedelic Renaissance. In recent years, there has been a resurgence of interest in the therapeutic potential of psychedelic substances like psilocybin, magic mushrooms, and MDMA. Research on their use in treating mental health conditions has gained attention, leading to increased discussions and calls for decriminalization or reclassification of these substances. 6. Cannabis legalization. The movement toward the legalization and decriminalization of cannabis has gained significant traction in recent years. Several countries and U.S. states have legalized cannabis for recreational or medicinal use, challenging the traditional perception of cannabis as a harmful drug and reshaping public attitudes toward its use. 7. Harm reduction and drug policy reform. Advocacy for harm reduction approaches, emphasizing pragmatic and compassionate responses to drug use, has gained prominence. This movement focuses on minimizing the negative consequences associated with drug use through strategies like needle exchange programs, supervised injection sites, and access to addiction treatment. These moments and movements have shaped drug culture by influencing public opinion, policy debates, and societal norms surrounding drug use. They have contributed to evolving attitudes, changing legal frameworks, and ongoing discussions about drug policy, addiction treatment, and public health approaches. Key factors that contribute to drug abuse. Drug abuse is a complex issue influenced by a variety of factors that can be categorized as underlying causes and risk factors. Understanding these underlying causes and risk factors is crucial for addressing drug abuse effectively. Here are some key factors that contribute to drug abuse. 1. Biological factors. Genetic predisposition and individual differences in brain chemistry can increase the vulnerability to drug abuse. Some individuals may be more prone to developing addiction due to inherited traits or physiological responses to substances. 2. Environmental factors. The environment plays a significant role in shaping drug abuse patterns. Factors such as peer influence, family dynamics, exposure to substance abuse, and availability of drugs can contribute to an individual's likelihood of engaging in drug abuse. Adverse childhood experiences, including trauma, neglect, or abuse, can also increase the risk of substance abuse later in life. 3. Mental health conditions. Co-occurring mental health disorders, such as depression, anxiety, or trauma-related disorders, can contribute to the development of drug abuse. Individuals may turn to substances as a form of self-medication to alleviate distressing symptoms or to cope with emotional challenges. 4. Social and economic factors. Socioeconomic factors, including poverty, unemployment, lack of education, and social exclusion, can contribute to drug abuse. These factors may increase stress levels, limit access to resources and opportunities, and create environments where drug use becomes more prevalent. 5. Cultural and peer influences. Cultural norms, media portrayals, and peer pressure can influence an individual's attitudes and behaviors regarding drug use. For example, certain subcultures or social groups may glorify or normalize substance use, making it more likely for individuals to engage in drug abuse to fit in or seek acceptance. 6. Accessibility and availability. The availability and accessibility of drugs significantly impact substance abuse rates. Easy access to drugs, whether through illegal markets or overprescribing of medications, increases the likelihood of experimentation and prolonged use. 7. Lack of education and prevention efforts. Insufficient education about the risks and consequences of drug abuse can contribute to higher rates of substance use. Lack of awareness about addiction and limited access to prevention programs may leave individuals vulnerable to engaging in risky behaviors. It is important to note that these factors do not operate in isolation but often interact and compound one another. A comprehensive approach to drug abuse prevention and treatment should address these underlying causes and risk factors through strategies such as education, early intervention, improved access to mental health services, community support programs, and policies targeting social determinants of substance abuse. By understanding the underlying causes and risk factors, efforts can be directed toward creating environments that promote resilience, healthy coping mechanisms, and supportive communities, ultimately reducing the prevalence of drug abuse. Environmental, genetic, and psychological factors. Environmental, genetic, and psychological factors all play significant roles in influencing an individual's susceptibility to drug abuse. Let us explore each of these factors in more detail. 1. Environmental factors. The environment in which an individual lives can greatly influence their likelihood of engaging in drug abuse. Some key environmental factors include peer influence. The influence of friends, peers, and social networks can be a strong determinant of drug abuse. People may feel pressure to conform to group norms and engage in substance use to fit in or gain acceptance. Family dynamics. Family environment, including parenting styles, family history of drug abuse, and exposure to parental substance use, can contribute to an individual's risk for drug abuse. Adverse family circumstances, such as dysfunctional relationships, neglect, or abuse, may also increase vulnerability to substance abuse. Socioeconomic factors. Socioeconomic status, poverty, unemployment, and limited access to educational opportunities can create conditions that contribute to drug abuse. Economic hardships and lack of resources may lead individuals to seek escape or cope with stress through substance use. Availability and accessibility. The availability and accessibility of drugs can strongly influence drug abuse rates. Easy access to illicit substances or the overprescription of medications can increase the likelihood of experimentation and dependence. 2. Genetic factors. Genetic factors can contribute to an individual's predisposition to drug abuse. Certain genetic variations can affect the way the brain responds to substances, making some individuals more susceptible to addiction. These genetic factors can influence aspects such as metabolism, reward pathways, and the ability to regulate impulses. Family history. Having a family history of substance abuse or addiction can significantly increase an individual's risk. Genetic factors can interact with environmental influences, leading to a greater vulnerability to developing drug abuse problems. 3. Psychological factors. Psychological factors play a crucial role in drug abuse and addiction. These factors include co-occurring mental health conditions. Individuals with underlying mental health disorders, such as depression, anxiety, or trauma-related disorders, are at a higher risk for drug abuse. Substance use may be an attempt to self-medicate or alleviate distressing symptoms. Coping mechanisms and stress. Poor coping skills and difficulty managing stress can contribute to drug abuse. Substance use may provide temporary relief or a sense of escape from challenging emotions or life situations. Personality traits. Certain personality traits, such as sensation-seeking, impulsivity, and low self-esteem, can increase the likelihood of drug abuse. Individuals with these traits may be more inclined to experiment with substances or use them as a means of coping with emotional difficulties. It is important to note that these factors interact with each other, and no single factor alone determines whether an individual will develop a substance abuse problem. The interplay of genetic, environmental, and psychological factors influences an individual's susceptibility to drug abuse, and understanding these complex interactions is essential for prevention, early intervention, and effective treatment strategies. Classes of drugs. Drugs can be categorized into various classes based on their effects on the body and mind. Here are some of the major categories of drugs. 1. Stimulants. Stimulant drugs increase alertness, attention, and energy levels. They typically speed up the body's systems and elevate mood. Common stimulants include cocaine, a powerful stimulant derived from the coca plant. It produces intense euphoria, increased energy, and heightened focus, but can also lead to addiction and harmful health effects. Amphetamines, drugs like amphetamine and methamphetamine, meth, that stimulate the central nervous system. They are used medically for attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, ADHD, but can be misused for their euphoric effects. Prescription stimulants, medications like Adderall and Ritalin, prescribed for ADHD or narcolepsy. When misused, these drugs can increase focus and energy but can also lead to dependence and adverse effects. 2. Depressants/sedatives. Depressant drugs slow down brain activity, inducing relaxation, calmness, and drowsiness. They can have a sedating effect and are often used to manage anxiety or sleep disorders. Common depressants include Alcohol, a widely used and legal depressant that affects the central nervous system. Alcohol can cause relaxation, disinhibition, and impaired judgment. Excessive consumption can lead to addiction and numerous health issues. Benzodiazepines, prescription medications like Xanax and Valium that are prescribed for anxiety and sleep disorders. These drugs enhance the effects of a neurotransmitter called GABA, inducing sedation and relaxation. Barbiturates, sedative drugs that were once commonly prescribed for sleep disorders and anxiety but are now less frequently used due to their high risk of dependence and overdose. 3. Opioids. Opioids are derived from opium or synthetic compounds that interact with opioid receptors in the brain. They are primarily used for pain relief but can also produce euphoria and relaxation. Opioids include heroin, an illegal opioid derived from morphine. It is highly addictive and can cause intense euphoria but also leads to severe health consequences and a high risk of overdose. Prescription opioids, medications like oxycodone, hydrocodone, and fentanyl that are prescribed for pain management. These drugs can be misused and have contributed to the opioid epidemic, characterized by addiction and overdose-related deaths. 4. Hallucinogens. Hallucinogenic drugs alter perception, mood, and cognition, often inducing sensory distortions and hallucinations. They can produce profound changes in thoughts and emotions. Common hallucinogens include LSD, lysergic acid diethylamide, a potent hallucinogen that alters perception, mood, and thoughts. It produces visual and auditory hallucinations and can profoundly impact one's consciousness. Psilocybin, magic mushrooms, naturally occurring hallucinogens found in certain mushroom species. They can induce altered states of consciousness, visual distortions, and introspective experiences. Peyote and ayahuasca, traditional plant-based hallucinogens used in specific cultural and spiritual practices. They produce profound psychological and spiritual effects. 5. Cannabis. Cannabis refers to the plant species that includes marijuana and hemp. It contains psychoactive compounds, notably delta-9 tetrahydrocannabinol, THC, which produces euphoria and alters perception. Cannabis can be consumed through smoking, vaporization, or ingestion. It is important to note that drug effects can vary within each category, and some drugs may have properties that overlap multiple categories. Additionally, the misuse and abuse of any drug can lead to adverse effects, addiction, and other health problems. Understanding the categories of drugs helps in recognizing their effects and potential risks associated with their use. The effects, prevalence, and associated dangers of different categories of drugs. 1. Stimulants. Effects. Stimulants increase alertness, attention, and energy levels. They can induce euphoria, heightened focus, and increased sociability. Prevalence. Stimulant abuse is a significant issue globally. Cocaine, amphetamines, and prescription stimulants are commonly misused substances. Dangers. Prolonged stimulant use can lead to addiction, cardiovascular problems, anxiety, paranoia, and even overdose. Cocaine use, in particular, is associated with a high risk of heart attacks and strokes. 2. Depressants/sedatives. Effects. Depressants induce relaxation, sedation, and feelings of calmness. They can also impair coordination and cognition. Prevalence. Alcohol, being legal and widely available, is one of the most commonly used and abused depressants. Misuse of benzodiazepines and barbiturates also occurs. Dangers. Excessive depressant use can result in dependence, overdose, respiratory depression, memory impairment, and impaired judgment. Combining depressants with other substances, especially alcohol, can be life-threatening. 3. Opioids. Effects. Opioids provide pain relief, euphoria, and sedation. They also induce a sense of well-being and relaxation. Prevalence. The misuse and addiction to opioids have reached epidemic levels in many countries. Prescription opioids and illegal substances like heroin and illicitly manufactured fentanyl are commonly abused. Dangers. Opioid abuse can lead to addiction, overdose, respiratory depression, and dependence. The use of contaminated opioids increases the risk of infectious diseases like HIV and hepatitis. Overdoses from opioids can be fatal, and the opioid crisis has had devastating impacts on communities and public health. 4. Hallucinogens. Effects. Hallucinogens alter perception, thoughts, and mood. They can induce visual and auditory hallucinations, introspective experiences, and altered states of consciousness. Prevalence. The use of hallucinogens is less prevalent compared to other drug categories, but substances like LSD and psilocybin mushrooms still have a following. Dangers. While hallucinogens are not typically associated with physical dependence or overdose, they can cause psychological distress, panic reactions, and persistent hallucinogen persisting perception disorder, HPPD, in some individuals. In certain situations or with pre-existing mental health conditions, hallucinogens can trigger adverse psychological effects. 5. Cannabis. Effects. Cannabis produces a range of effects, including relaxation, euphoria, altered perception, increased appetite, and potential therapeutic benefits. Prevalence. Cannabis is one of the most widely used illicit drugs globally. However, its prevalence and legal status vary significantly across jurisdictions. Dangers. While cannabis is generally considered less harmful than many other substances, chronic use can lead to dependence, cognitive impairments, respiratory problems, and mental health issues, particularly in vulnerable individuals. The potency of cannabis products, such as those containing high levels of THC, can increase the risk of adverse effects. It is important to note that the dangers associated with drug use can vary depending on various factors, including the individual's susceptibility, dosage, route of administration, and co-occurring substance use. Understanding the effects and risks associated with different drugs can help individuals make informed choices and enable the development of effective prevention and harm reduction strategies. Sarah, a talented high school student, fell into drug abuse during her senior year. Initially, she started experimenting with marijuana at parties, seeking an escape from stress and academic pressures. Over time, her drug use escalated to include cocaine and prescription pills. Sarah's grades dropped, she became socially isolated, and her relationships with friends and family deteriorated. Despite multiple attempts to quit, Sarah found herself caught in a cycle of addiction and was unable to regain control over her life. John was prescribed opioids following a sports injury. Initially, the pain relief provided him much-needed comfort, but he soon became dependent on the medication. Over time, John's addiction spiraled out of control as he sought stronger opioids on the illicit market. His life quickly unraveled as he lost his job, strained his relationships, and faced legal consequences. John's struggle with opioid addiction became a battle for survival, marked by periods of recovery followed by relapses. Maria grew up in a household where substance abuse was prevalent. As a result, she was exposed to drugs and alcohol from an early age. Seeking an escape from the chaos at home, Maria began using drugs recreationally in her teens. Her drug use escalated to include heroin, and she became trapped in a cycle of addiction, homelessness, and criminal activities. Maria's life became a constant struggle to find her next fix, while her health and well-being deteriorated. Michael, a successful professional, began abusing prescription stimulants to cope with demanding work expectations. Initially, the drugs helped him stay focused and meet deadlines, but he quickly developed a dependence. As his tolerance increased, he resorted to obtaining stimulants illegally. Michael's once promising career suffered, and he experienced physical and mental health problems. Despite recognizing the negative impact of his drug abuse, Michael found it challenging to break free from the cycle of addiction. These stories reflect the diverse range of individuals affected by drug abuse. They showcase the emotional, physical, and social struggles faced by those caught in the grip of addiction, emphasizing the importance of prevention, support, and effective treatment in addressing drug abuse issues.
Consequences of drug addiction. Drug addiction can have profound physical, mental, and emotional consequences on individuals. Here's an exploration of these consequences. 1. Physical consequences. Health issues. Drug addiction can lead to a range of physical health problems. Depending on the substance abused, individuals may experience cardiovascular issues, liver damage, respiratory problems, compromised immune system, and increased risk of infectious diseases like HIV, AIDS, or hepatitis. Overdose. Drug overdose is a severe consequence of addiction and can result in respiratory failure, coma, and even death. Overdoses are particularly common with opioids and stimulants. Withdrawal symptoms. When a person addicted to drugs attempts to quit or reduce drug use, they may experience withdrawal symptoms. These symptoms can vary depending on the substance but often include flu-like symptoms, nausea, sweating, insomnia, anxiety, and intense cravings. 2. Mental and emotional consequences. Mental health disorders. Drug addiction commonly co-occurs with mental health disorders. Substance abuse can worsen or trigger conditions such as depression, anxiety, bipolar disorder, and schizophrenia. Cognitive impairment. Chronic drug use can impair cognitive function, affecting memory, attention, decision-making, and problem-solving abilities. Prolonged substance abuse can lead to long-term cognitive deficits. Emotional distress. Addiction often causes emotional turmoil, including intense mood swings, irritability, and emotional instability. Feelings of guilt, shame, and low self-esteem are common among individuals struggling with drug addiction. Dual diagnosis. Individuals with addiction and co-occurring mental health disorders face unique challenges. The interplay of substance abuse and mental health can complicate treatment and recovery. 3. Social and interpersonal consequences. Strained relationships. Drug addiction can strain relationships with family, friends, and partners. Trust issues, broken promises, and conflicts arising from the individual's substance abuse can lead to isolation and damaged support systems. Financial problems. Addiction often comes with financial consequences, as individuals may prioritize obtaining drugs over meeting financial obligations. Job loss, legal issues, and financial instability are common outcomes. Legal issues. Substance abuse can lead to involvement in illegal activities to obtain drugs or due to impaired judgment while under the influence. This can result in legal consequences, including arrests, convictions, and incarceration. These consequences of drug addiction highlight the multidimensional impact it has on individuals' lives. Addressing drug addiction requires a comprehensive approach that includes medical treatment, therapy, social support, and addressing underlying factors contributing to addiction. By recognizing the physical, mental, and emotional consequences, efforts can be made to promote prevention, early intervention, and effective support for individuals struggling with addiction. The impact of drug abuse extends beyond the individual struggling with addiction and can have far-reaching effects on families, communities, and society as a whole. Here is an examination of the wider impact of drug abuse. 1. Families. Emotional distress. Drug abuse within a family can lead to emotional distress, including feelings of guilt, shame, anger, and helplessness. Family members may experience chronic stress, anxiety, and depression due to the unpredictability and instability associated with addiction. Relationship strain. Drug abuse often strains relationships within families, causing breakdowns in trust, communication, and intimacy. Family members may experience conflicts, financial strain, and disruptions in daily routines and responsibilities. Neglect and abuse. Substance abuse can contribute to neglect and abuse within families. Parents struggling with addiction may be unable to provide adequate care for their children, leading to neglect or exposure to unsafe environments. Additionally, drug abuse can increase the risk of domestic violence and child abuse. 2. Communities. Increased crime. Drug abuse is often linked to increased criminal activity such as theft, drug trafficking, and violence. The need to obtain drugs and the involvement in illegal activities to sustain addiction can undermine community safety and security. Strained healthcare systems. Substance abuse places a significant burden on healthcare systems. Emergency services, addiction treatment facilities, and mental health programs face increased demand, leading to strain on resources and longer waiting times for those seeking help. Financial costs. Drug abuse imposes substantial economic costs on communities. These costs include healthcare expenses, lost productivity due to addiction or incarceration, and the financial burden of law enforcement efforts to combat drug-related crimes. 3. Society. Public health concerns. Drug abuse contributes to public health challenges such as the spread of infectious diseases like HIV, AIDS, and hepatitis, particularly through the sharing of needles among injecting drug users. Overdoses and associated deaths have become a significant public health crisis in many countries. Stigma and discrimination. Individuals struggling with drug addiction often face social stigma and discrimination, which can hinder their access to healthcare, employment, housing, and social support. This further perpetuates cycles of addiction and marginalization. Social inequalities. Drug abuse disproportionately affects marginalized communities and perpetuates social inequalities. Factors such as poverty, limited access to resources, and systemic inequities contribute to higher rates of drug abuse in vulnerable populations, exacerbating existing social disparities. Addressing the wider impact of drug abuse requires comprehensive efforts that go beyond individual treatment. It involves implementing evidence-based prevention programs, increasing access to quality addiction treatment and support services, reducing stigma, and addressing social determinants of drug abuse. By focusing on a holistic approach, societies can work towards creating healthier, safer, and more inclusive communities.
Implications for crime rates, economic costs, and strain on healthcare systems. Drug abuse has significant implications for crime rates, economic costs, and strain on healthcare systems. Let's explore each of these issues. 1. Crime rates. Drug-related crimes. Drug abuse is often associated with an increase in criminal activity. Individuals may engage in theft, burglary, or other illegal activities to obtain money to support their drug habits. Drug trafficking and distribution networks contribute to organized crime and violence. Violent crimes. Substance abuse can contribute to an increased likelihood of violence. Intoxication, altered judgment, and the need to obtain drugs can lead individuals to engage in aggressive behaviors, including domestic violence, assault, and homicide. 2. Economic costs. Healthcare expenses. Drug abuse places a substantial financial burden on healthcare systems. The costs include emergency room visits, hospitalizations, addiction treatment programs, and medical care for associated health issues such as overdoses, infectious diseases, and organ damage. Productivity losses. Substance abuse can lead to decreased productivity and absenteeism in the workplace. Individuals struggling with addiction may face challenges in maintaining employment, resulting in lost wages and reduced economic output. Criminal justice expenditures. Law enforcement efforts to combat drug-related crimes, prosecute offenders, and incarcerate individuals contribute to significant costs for the criminal justice system. This includes expenses related to police investigations, court proceedings, and imprisonment. 3. Strain on healthcare systems. Increased demand for services. Substance abuse places a strain on healthcare systems, particularly in terms of addiction treatment services. The demand for detoxification programs, counseling, rehabilitation, and mental health support increases, often exceeding available resources. Emergency services. Drug-related emergencies, including overdoses and adverse reactions, place a burden on emergency departments and emergency medical services. These services must allocate personnel, equipment, and resources to address urgent drug-related incidents. Limited access to treatment. The strain on healthcare systems can result in limited access to timely and appropriate addiction treatment services. Waiting lists for treatment programs, scarcity of specialized addiction professionals, and limited funding contribute to challenges in providing comprehensive care to those in need. Addressing these issues requires a multifaceted approach. Effective strategies include investing in prevention and education programs to reduce drug abuse rates, implementing evidence-based treatment and harm reduction initiatives, and supporting diversion programs that offer alternatives to incarceration for nonviolent drug offenders. Allocating resources to expand healthcare infrastructure, train healthcare professionals in addiction treatment, and promote collaboration between healthcare providers and law enforcement can also contribute to alleviating the strain on healthcare systems and reducing the economic costs associated with drug abuse. Prevention. Preventing drug abuse requires a comprehensive approach that focuses on education, early intervention, and addressing the underlying factors contributing to substance abuse. Here are some strategies for preventing drug abuse. 1. Education and awareness. School-based programs. Implement evidence-based drug education programs in schools to provide accurate information about the risks and consequences of substance abuse. These programs should promote critical thinking, decision-making skills, and refusal techniques. Community outreach. Conduct community-wide awareness campaigns that educate the public about the dangers of drug abuse and promote healthy alternatives and positive behaviors. Engage community organizations, religious institutions, and local leaders to disseminate information and support prevention efforts. 2. Early intervention and screening. Early identification. Implement screening programs in healthcare settings, schools, and community centers to identify individuals at risk of substance abuse. Early intervention can help address risk factors and provide appropriate support and resources. Mental health support. Ensure early access to mental health services and support for individuals experiencing mental health challenges. Addressing underlying mental health issues can reduce the likelihood of self-medication through substance abuse. 3. Promotion of protective factors. Strengthening family bonds. Promote positive family dynamics, parental involvement, and healthy communication within families. Strong family connections and support systems act as protective factors against drug abuse. Building resilience. Foster resilience and life skills development in children and adolescents. Teach coping strategies, problem-solving skills, and stress management techniques to help individuals navigate challenges without turning to drugs. 4. Regulation and policy. Restricting access. Implement and enforce regulations that restrict access to drugs, particularly among vulnerable populations such as minors. This includes stricter controls on the sale and distribution of substances with high abuse potential. Prescription drug monitoring programs. Implement prescription drug monitoring programs to monitor the prescribing and dispensing of controlled substances, preventing the misuse and diversion of prescription medications. 5. Support and treatment services. Accessible treatment. Ensure accessible and affordable addiction treatment services, including counseling, detoxification, and rehabilitation programs. Promote the integration of substance abuse treatment with primary healthcare services to address co-occurring conditions effectively. Support networks. Establish support networks and peer support programs that provide individuals struggling with substance abuse a sense of community, encouragement, and guidance throughout their recovery journey. 6. Collaboration and partnerships. Multi-sectoral collaboration. Foster collaboration among healthcare providers, educators, law enforcement agencies, community organizations, and policymakers to develop comprehensive prevention strategies. Sharing resources, knowledge, and expertise can enhance the effectiveness of prevention efforts. Public-private partnerships. Engage private organizations, businesses, and the media in raising awareness about drug abuse prevention and supporting initiatives through sponsorship, resources, and public messaging campaigns. By implementing these strategies, communities can work together to create environments that promote healthy choices, resilience, and supportive networks, reducing the prevalence and impact of drug abuse. Successful intervention programs and rehabilitation efforts. Various successful intervention programs and rehabilitation efforts have proven effective in addressing drug abuse. Here are a few examples. 1. Cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT. CBT is a widely used evidence-based therapy for substance abuse. It focuses on identifying and modifying negative thought patterns and behaviors associated with drug abuse. It helps individuals develop coping strategies, problem-solving skills, and relapse prevention techniques. Numerous studies have shown the effectiveness of CBT in reducing substance abuse, improving treatment retention rates, and enhancing overall well-being. It can be delivered in individual or group settings, and it can be tailored to address specific substance abuse issues. 2. Medication-assisted treatment, MAT. MAT combines behavioral therapy with medications that help manage withdrawal symptoms, cravings, and stabilize brain chemistry. Medications commonly used include methadone, buprenorphine, and naltrexone, depending on the substance of abuse. MAT has demonstrated effectiveness in treating opioid addiction, reducing illicit drug use, and improving treatment outcomes. It has been associated with decreased mortality rates, increased retention in treatment, and improved social functioning. 3. 12-step facilitation, TSF. TSF is a treatment approach based on the principles of the 12-step fellowship programs like Alcoholics Anonymous, AA, or Narcotics Anonymous, NA. It involves engaging individuals in self-help groups and promoting abstinence through spiritual and social support. TSF has been successful in promoting abstinence, reducing substance use, and improving treatment engagement and adherence. It provides individuals with a supportive community and a structured framework for recovery. 4. Therapeutic communities. Description. Therapeutic communities are residential treatment programs that offer a highly structured environment for individuals with substance use disorders. They provide comprehensive services, including counseling, vocational training, and life skills development. Success. Therapeutic communities have shown positive outcomes in reducing drug use, criminal behavior, and improving social functioning. The extended duration of treatment, peer support, and emphasis on personal responsibility contribute to successful rehabilitation. 5. Peer recovery support. Peer recovery support programs involve individuals who have achieved recovery from substance abuse, providing support, mentorship, and guidance to others in the recovery process. Peer support can be delivered in various settings, such as peer-led recovery groups or peer recovery coaches. Peer support has demonstrated effectiveness in promoting sustained recovery, reducing relapse rates, and improving overall well-being. It offers a unique perspective and understanding of the challenges faced by individuals in recovery. These are just a few examples of successful intervention programs and rehabilitation efforts. The effectiveness of any program depends on factors such as individual needs, motivation, and the availability of support systems. Implementing a combination of evidence-based therapies, tailored to individual needs, can significantly increase the chances of successful recovery and long-term sobriety. Importance of education and awareness. Education and raising awareness about drug abuse play a crucial role in addressing and preventing substance abuse issues. Here is why education and awareness are important. 1. Prevention. Education is a key component in preventing drug abuse. By providing accurate information about the risks, consequences, and effects of drugs, individuals can make informed decisions and understand the potential harms associated with substance abuse. Education empowers individuals to resist peer pressure, make healthy choices, and adopt protective behaviors. 2. Early intervention. Education and awareness efforts help identify signs of substance abuse at an early stage. When individuals, families, and communities are knowledgeable about the warning signs, they can intervene promptly and provide appropriate support and resources. Early intervention is essential in preventing the escalation of drug abuse into more severe problems. 3. Reduction of stigma. Education and awareness initiatives help challenge the stigma and misconceptions associated with drug abuse. By promoting understanding and empathy, society can create an environment that supports individuals seeking help, reducing the barriers to treatment and recovery. Reducing stigma also encourages open discussions about addiction, facilitating supportive and non-judgmental conversations. 4. Empowering individuals. Education equips individuals with the knowledge and skills to make informed choices about substance use. It promotes critical thinking, effective communication, problem-solving, and decision-making skills, which are essential in resisting peer pressure and avoiding risky behaviors. Education empowers individuals to take control of their health and well-being. 5. Creating supportive communities. Raising awareness about drug abuse fosters community engagement and involvement. It encourages the development of support networks, partnerships, and collaborations among community members, organizations, and local institutions. This collective effort helps create a supportive environment that promotes prevention, treatment, and recovery. 6. Promoting healthy lifestyles. Education about drug abuse extends beyond the risks of substance use. It also emphasizes the importance of overall well-being, mental health, and healthy coping mechanisms. By providing information about alternative activities, stress management techniques, and healthy lifestyle choices, education encourages individuals to pursue fulfilling and drug-free lives. 7. Addressing underlying factors. Education can shed light on the underlying factors contributing to substance abuse, such as mental health, trauma, or socioeconomic challenges. By raising awareness about these factors, society can work towards addressing the root causes of drug abuse and implementing appropriate interventions and support systems. Overall, education and raising awareness about drug abuse are vital in promoting prevention, early intervention, reducing stigma, and fostering supportive communities. By equipping individuals with knowledge, skills, and resources, society can work together to combat substance abuse and create a healthier, drug-free future. There are numerous campaigns, initiatives, and educational resources available that focus on drug abuse prevention, awareness, and education. These efforts aim to provide accurate information, promote healthy choices, and support individuals and communities in addressing substance abuse. Here are some examples. 1. National Institute on Drug Abuse, NIDA. NIDA offers a wealth of educational resources, research-based materials, and tools for parents, educators, healthcare professionals, and community leaders. Their website, www.drugabuse.gov, provides information on drugs, prevention strategies, treatment options, and the latest research in the field. 2. Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, SAMHSA. SAMHSA provides a range of resources and campaigns aimed at raising awareness and promoting behavioral health. They offer educational materials, prevention toolkits, and programs for different age groups and communities. SAMHSA's website, www.samhsa.gov, features resources on substance abuse prevention, treatment locators, and helpline services. 3. Above the Influence. Above the Influence is a national campaign that encourages young people to make positive choices and resist negative influences, including substance abuse. The campaign uses various media platforms, including social media, to deliver messages promoting healthy lifestyles and empowering young individuals. 4. National Drug and Alcohol Facts Week. Organized by NIDA and NIAAA, National Institute on Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism, National Drug and Alcohol Facts Week is an annual health observance week in the United States. It aims to promote education about substance abuse by encouraging schools, communities, and organizations to host events and activities that provide evidence-based information to teenagers. 5. Talk. They hear you. This campaign, developed by SAMHSA, focuses on empowering parents and caregivers to initiate conversations with their children about the risks of underage drinking and substance abuse. The campaign provides resources, including brochures, videos, and conversation starters, to facilitate open and effective communication. 6. DARE, Drug Abuse Resistance Education. DARE is a widely recognized school-based program that provides students with the knowledge and skills to make safe and responsible choices regarding drugs, violence, and other high-risk behaviors. The program features interactive lessons, guest speakers, and activities delivered by law enforcement officers or trained educators. 7. Community-based prevention programs. Many local communities and organizations implement prevention programs tailored to their specific needs. These programs may include after-school activities, mentorship programs, life skills training, and community engagement initiatives. They aim to provide positive alternatives, promote resilience, and create supportive environments for individuals at risk of substance abuse. These are just a few examples of the numerous campaigns, initiatives, and educational resources available to address drug abuse. Local health departments, schools, community organizations, and healthcare providers often provide additional resources and programs specific to their regions. Engaging with these resources and actively participating in prevention efforts can contribute to creating a more informed, supportive, and drug-free society. Drug laws and policies vary significantly across countries, including the United States, Canada, and Nigeria. Here is an examination of drug laws and policies in these countries. 1. United States. Drug scheduling. The U.S. classifies drugs into different schedules under the Controlled Substances Act. Schedule I substances, such as heroin and LSD, are considered to have a high potential for abuse and no accepted medical use. The classification determines legal penalties and restrictions on possession, distribution, and manufacturing. State-level variations. Drug laws in the U.S. can vary at the state level. Some states have enacted legislation to decriminalize or legalize certain drugs, such as marijuana, for medical or recreational use. Other states maintain stricter drug laws and penalties. Focus on criminalization. Historically, U.S. drug policies have focused on criminalization and punitive measures. This approach has led to high rates of incarceration, particularly for drug offenses, disproportionately affecting marginalized communities. 2. Canada. Cannabis legalization. Canada made headlines in 2018 by legalizing the recreational use of cannabis nationwide. The Cannabis Act allows adults to possess, purchase, and cultivate limited amounts of cannabis, with strict regulations on distribution and sales. Harm reduction approach. Canada has adopted a harm reduction approach to drug policy. It supports initiatives like supervised injection sites, needle exchange programs, and access to naloxone to prevent opioid overdose deaths. Focus on public health. Canadian drug policies increasingly emphasize public health and harm reduction over punitive measures. The aim is to address substance abuse as a public health issue rather than solely as a criminal matter. 3. Nigeria. Strict drug laws. Nigeria has stringent drug laws, with severe penalties for drug offenses. Possession, trafficking, and production of illicit drugs can result in lengthy prison sentences or even the death penalty. Prevalence of drug trafficking. Nigeria serves as a transit point for drug trafficking, particularly in West Africa. The country faces significant challenges in combating drug cartels and addressing the flow of illegal drugs across its borders. Treatment and rehabilitation. Nigeria recognizes the importance of treatment and rehabilitation for drug users. The National Drug Control Master Plan emphasizes the need for comprehensive drug demand reduction strategies, including awareness campaigns, counseling services, and rehabilitation centers. It's important to note that drug laws and policies evolve over time, and the examples provided offer a snapshot of the current state. Drug policy debates continue in each of these countries, with discussions around decriminalization, harm reduction, and alternative approaches to addressing drug abuse. Additionally, international efforts, such as the United Nations Drug Control Conventions, influence national drug policies and cooperation among countries in combating drug trafficking and abuse. The debates. The debates surrounding drug abuse and alternative approaches to addressing it have gained significant attention in recent years. Here are some key debates and alternative approaches in addressing drug abuse. 1. Decriminalization. Debate. The decriminalization of drug use and possession focuses on shifting the emphasis from punishment to public health and harm reduction. Supporters argue that treating drug use as a health issue rather than a criminal offense reduces stigma, encourages individuals to seek help, and allows resources to be directed towards prevention, treatment, and education. Alternative approach. Instead of criminalizing drug users, decriminalization policies may involve issuing warnings, imposing fines, or referring individuals to treatment programs. These approaches aim to minimize the negative consequences associated with criminal records and incarceration. 2. Harm reduction. Debate. Harm reduction approaches aim to reduce the negative consequences of drug use without necessarily requiring abstinence. Critics argue that harm reduction strategies may enable or normalize drug use. However, proponents emphasize that these strategies save lives, reduce transmission of infectious diseases, and improve overall public health by offering safer alternatives. Alternative approach. Harm reduction strategies include needle exchange programs, supervised injection sites, opioid substitution therapies, such as methadone maintenance treatment, and naloxone distribution to reverse opioid overdoses. These approaches prioritize preventing harm, promoting safety, and providing support to individuals with substance abuse issues. 3. treatment focus. Debate. There is ongoing debate regarding the best approaches to drug treatment, including the balance between abstinence-based programs and medication-assisted treatment, MAT. Some argue that abstinence-based approaches are the most effective, while others advocate for MAT as a means of reducing cravings, managing withdrawal symptoms, and increasing treatment engagement. Alternative approach. Integrating evidence-based treatment modalities, such as cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, contingency management, motivational interviewing, and family therapy, into comprehensive treatment programs can enhance outcomes. A person-centered approach that considers individual needs, preferences, and underlying factors contributing to drug abuse is crucial. 4. Prevention and education. Debate. The debate surrounding prevention and education efforts involves discussions on the most effective approaches to preventing drug abuse. Some argue that focusing solely on abstinence-based messages may be ineffective, as it may not resonate with all individuals. There is a need to address underlying factors, promote resilience, and equip individuals with knowledge and skills to make informed choices. Alternative approach. Comprehensive prevention strategies focus on providing accurate information about drugs, promoting protective factors, such as strong family bonds, supportive communities, and positive youth development, developing life skills, and addressing risk factors like mental health issues and adverse childhood experiences. Prevention efforts should be tailored to specific populations, taking into account cultural factors, age-appropriate messaging, and community involvement. These debates and alternative approaches reflect the evolving understanding of drug abuse and the recognition of the need for comprehensive, evidence-based strategies. It is essential to continue researching, evaluating, and adapting approaches to best address the complex and multifaceted challenges associated with drug abuse. Inspiring stories. Here are a few inspiring stories of individuals who have overcome drug addiction. 1. Sarah battled with addiction to opioids for several years, which resulted in strained relationships, loss of employment, and deteriorating physical and mental health. Determined to turn her life around, Sarah sought professional help and entered a comprehensive addiction treatment program. Through a combination of therapy, support groups, and medication-assisted treatment, she gradually regained control of her life. Today, Sarah is several years in recovery, has rebuilt her relationships, pursued a new career, and become an advocate for addiction awareness and support. 2. John's addiction to alcohol led to a downward spiral, impacting his job, family life, and overall well-being. Realizing the toll it was taking on his life, he made the decision to seek treatment. With the support of a rehabilitation program, counseling, and the encouragement of loved ones, John achieved sobriety. He embraced a sober lifestyle, focused on personal growth, and reconnected with his passion for art. Today, John shares his story to inspire others, mentors individuals in recovery, and uses his artistic talents to raise awareness about addiction. 3. Maria struggled with addiction to methamphetamine for years, which resulted in homelessness, strained family relationships, and legal issues. After hitting rock bottom, she reached out for help and enrolled in a long-term residential treatment program. Through therapy, support from her peers, and learning essential life skills, Maria embarked on a journey of recovery. She eventually secured stable housing, rebuilt her relationships, and pursued her educational goals. Maria now dedicates her time to helping others overcome addiction and advocates for supportive housing and resources for individuals in recovery. 4. Michael battled addiction to prescription painkillers for many years, which caused significant turmoil in his personal and professional life. Recognizing the need for change, he sought treatment and engaged in a comprehensive recovery program that included therapy, support groups, and vocational training. Michael successfully completed treatment, obtained gainful employment, and developed a strong support network. He now shares his story to inspire others, raises awareness about the dangers of prescription drug misuse, and mentors individuals on their path to recovery. These stories highlight the resilience, strength, and determination of individuals who have overcome drug addiction. They serve as a reminder that recovery is possible with the right support, treatment, and personal commitment. Sharing these stories can provide hope and encouragement to others facing similar challenges, while also reducing stigma and promoting understanding about addiction and recovery. Essential components in helping individuals overcome drug addiction. Support systems, treatment options, and the road to recovery are essential components in helping individuals overcome drug addiction. Here's a closer look at these elements. 1. Support systems. Family and friends. Having the support of loved ones can make a significant difference in the recovery journey. Family and friends can offer emotional support, encouragement, and understanding, and may also participate in family therapy or support groups to learn how to best support their loved ones' recovery. Support groups. Participation in support groups, such as Alcoholics Anonymous, AA, or Narcotics Anonymous, NA, provides a sense of community and understanding. These groups offer peer support, mentorship, and a safe space for individuals to share their experiences, challenges, and successes in recovery. Counseling and therapy. Engaging in individual counseling or therapy sessions can be instrumental in addressing the underlying causes of addiction, developing coping strategies, and enhancing emotional well-being. Therapists can provide guidance, help individuals navigate challenges, and support them throughout their recovery process. 2. Treatment options. Inpatient rehabilitation. Inpatient or residential rehabilitation programs provide a structured and immersive treatment environment. They offer 24/7 support, medical supervision, counseling, and a range of therapeutic activities aimed at addressing physical, psychological, and social aspects of addiction. Outpatient programs. Outpatient treatment programs offer flexibility, allowing individuals to receive treatment while living at home and continuing with daily responsibilities. These programs may include counseling, group therapy, medication-assisted treatment, and educational sessions. Medication-assisted treatment, MAT. MAT combines behavioral therapy with medications that help manage withdrawal symptoms, cravings, and stabilize brain chemistry. Medications commonly used include methadone, buprenorphine, and naltrexone. MAT is particularly effective in treating opioid addiction and reducing the risk of relapse. Counseling and therapy. Various therapeutic approaches, such as cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, dialectical behavior therapy, DBT, and motivational interviewing, can be employed to address the psychological and behavioral aspects of addiction. These therapies help individuals identify triggers, develop coping mechanisms, and change negative thought patterns. 3. Road to recovery. Detoxification. Detoxification is often the first step in the recovery process. It involves safely and gradually eliminating drugs from the body while managing withdrawal symptoms. Medical supervision is crucial during this phase to ensure safety and provide necessary support. Rehabilitation and treatment. Following detoxification, individuals can enter a rehabilitation program tailored to their needs. This may involve a combination of therapies, support groups, and skill-building activities to address physical, emotional, and behavioral aspects of addiction. Aftercare and continuing support. Recovery is a lifelong journey, and aftercare is crucial in maintaining sobriety. Continuing support may include outpatient counseling, support group participation, relapse prevention strategies, and ongoing medical and mental health care. Holistic approach. Recovery often benefits from a holistic approach that encompasses physical health, mental well-being, and social support. This may involve adopting healthy lifestyle choices, such as regular exercise, nutrition, stress management, and engaging in activities that promote personal growth and fulfillment. It is important to note that each individual's journey to recovery is unique, and the appropriate support systems and treatment options may vary. A comprehensive approach that addresses the specific needs of the individual, including physical, psychological, and social aspects, increases the likelihood of successful recovery. The road to recovery requires commitment, perseverance, and a strong support network to help individuals navigate challenges and embrace a healthier, substance-free life. What you can do. Taking action and getting involved in addressing drug abuse is crucial in creating positive change and supporting individuals and communities affected by substance abuse. Here are some ways viewers can take action and make a difference. 1. Educate yourself. Start by educating yourself about drug abuse, its causes, consequences, and available resources. Stay informed about the latest research, treatment approaches, and prevention strategies. Knowledge is a powerful tool in understanding the complexities of drug abuse and developing informed perspectives. 2. Raise awareness. Spread awareness about drug abuse and its impact by initiating conversations, sharing information on social media, and participating in local events or campaigns. Use your voice to advocate for evidence-based prevention programs, accessible treatment services, and supportive policies that prioritize public health and harm reduction. 3. Support prevention efforts. Get involved in community-based prevention programs by volunteering or supporting local initiatives. Offer your time, skills, or resources to organizations working to educate young people and families about the dangers of drug abuse, promote healthy alternatives, and build resilience. 4. Support treatment and recovery. Show support for individuals in recovery and those seeking treatment by participating in or supporting addiction treatment centers, recovery support groups, and advocacy organizations. Volunteer your time, share your personal experiences, or contribute to fundraising efforts that help provide resources for those in need. 5. Advocate for policy reform. Engage with local, regional, and national policymakers to advocate for policies that prioritize evidence-based approaches, treatment accessibility, and support for individuals affected by drug abuse. Write letters, make phone calls, or join advocacy groups working to shape drug policies and promote public health and social justice. 6. Reduce stigma. Combat stigma associated with drug addiction by promoting understanding, empathy, and compassion. Challenge stereotypes and discriminatory attitudes by sharing stories of recovery, supporting harm reduction approaches, and treating individuals with substance use disorders as people deserving of dignity and support. 7. Support families and communities. offer support to families and communities affected by drug abuse. Volunteer with organizations that provide resources, counseling, or support to families impacted by addiction. Engage in community-building activities that promote healthy environments and address the underlying social determinants of substance abuse. Remember, even small actions can make a difference. By taking steps to raise awareness, support prevention and treatment efforts, and advocate for change, you can contribute to the collective effort of addressing drug abuse and fostering healthier, more supportive communities. Together, we can make a positive impact and help individuals affected by drug abuse find the support and resources they need to heal and thrive. Here are some resources and information on how to support those affected by drug abuse in the United States, Canada, and Nigeria. United States. 1. Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, SAMHSA. SAMHSA Helpline, 1-800-662-HELP4357. SAMHSA's website provides a treatment locator tool, educational resources, and information on support services. www.samhsa.gov. 2. National Institute on Drug Abuse, NIDA. NIDA offers information on drug abuse, prevention, treatment, and research. www.drugabuse.gov. 3. Alcoholics Anonymous, AA. AA is a fellowship of individuals who have struggled with alcohol addiction. Their website provides information on meetings and support resources. www.aa.org. 4. Narcotics Anonymous, NA. NA is a support network for individuals recovering from drug addiction. Their website offers meeting information and resources. www.na.org. Canada. 1. Canada Drug Rehab Addiction Services Helpline. Helpline, 1-866-925-4034. The helpline offers support, resources, and information on addiction treatment services in Canada. 2. Centre for Addiction and Mental Health, CAMH. CAMH is Canada's largest mental health and addiction teaching hospital. Their website provides resources, treatment information, and educational materials. www.camh.ca. 3. Canadian Centre on Substance Use and Addiction, CCSA. CCSA offers resources, research, and tools related to substance abuse and addiction in Canada. www.ccsa.ca. 4. Narcotics Anonymous Canada. Narcotics Anonymous, NA, in Canada provides support for individuals recovering from drug addiction. Their website offers meeting information and resources. www.canocna.org. Nigeria. 1. National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA. NDLEA Hotline, +234 7034175959. NDLEA is Nigeria's primary drug law enforcement agency. They offer a hotline for reporting drug-related issues and seeking information. 2. Drug Abuse Awareness Foundation, DAAF. DAAF is a Nigerian nonprofit organization that provides counseling, treatment referrals, and educational resources. Contact them for support and information. 3. Freedom Foundation Nigeria. Freedom Foundation offers drug rehabilitation and counseling services. They provide support for individuals struggling with addiction, www.freedomfoundationing.org. 4. Narcotics Anonymous Nigeria. Narcotics Anonymous, NA, has meetings and support for individuals in Nigeria recovering from drug addiction. Contact them for meeting information and resources. These resources can provide valuable information, support, and treatment options for individuals affected by drug abuse in the respective countries. It's important to encourage individuals to reach out to these resources and seek professional help when needed.